Morning show. Yes, we're live on air. Absolutely. If this is the first time of joining in on the program, please do to sit back, follow, and let's bring the conversation into your space, wherever you may be, your office, your homes, even in your car. Just get to take it down the highway. Excel,
Yes.
I don't know why I should start with you, but my spirit tells me to do so.
You could start with
What's
the person who is not here.
what's the one thing that makes insecurity in Nigeria? What's the one thing that makes it, become expanded? I know you're not a security expert, don't worry. I know you're not a native doctor. You may not even have seen what happened somewhere in Owerri yesterday, but what do you think can be the cause?
Just now you went there, you drove something through my CNS. And is that story true? Let me start from there.
Well, I've had to put multiple call across to one very good friend of mine who goes by the name Oyama CY. He's not been responding because he schools around that area.
Yes.
So until that is confirmed, for now, it remains within the realms of some of the circulations on social media. No official mainstream source has actually flown that story. But that aspect, that place has been in hotspot for some time.
Where access.
Exactly.
Okay.
Futo and the other houses taking you to the Samuel Bako International Airport, with which you can also reconnect back to River State. So there's some level of.
Let's not like I said, it hit me when I heard about it this morning. I have been trying to reach out as well, and something in me is just praying it's not true. But if it is true, it's not a good one. Now you asked me a question: why is it out
Expanded.
of the open? Why is it expanded? Right? Wait, let me get that. Why is it expanding or why is it expanding?
Why is it expanding?
Why the issues of insecurity are expanding?
Yes. Don't speak like a professional, please.
No, relax. I'm not a quack.
There's something we're driving at.
I need to be sure that we're in the same lane. So I'll have to preach about this. Okay? Now, insecurity expands due to actions and inactions. Alright? On the part of persons who are meant to be key players within the sector. That is why, that is a primary reason there is that expansion. If those who are meant to act to nip it in the bud do so, that will curb expansion. If those who are meant to act do not act, it only facilitates the expansion. So, actions and inactions of key players, that's the bedrock.
Let me amaze you, and when you say bedrock, let me rock that ship a little.
Proceed.
Governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, he thinks otherwise. Caleb Mutfwang's belief sits with the fact that residents sharing stories and videos of communities that have been raped and run over by bandits and criminals is the basic cause for insecurity in his state, and is one of those reasons why insecurity has not in any way, been stopped in Plateau State. But if you think it's a lie, like they would say, let's hear from the horse's mouth.
That any incident should be swept under the carpet. We keep accurate data of all the attacks. But many of you that are in a hurry to put it on social media, you are destroying your state. And sometimes you put on social media what you had as a rumor. You don't know the lives you put in danger sometimes is what you put on social media. We need to be careful. We need to be careful. There is a deliberate plan to demarcate Plateau State and to tell the world that Plateau State is not anywhere that anybody should visit. But let me reassure.
That's Governor Caleb Mutfwang's position. To add salt to injury, because the necessity has not been, laid yet in terms of foundation. He had asked, security agents, which somehow makes a little bit of sense, to shoot at sites. Anyone found destroying lands.
Yes.
Now, why that order seems to be subsisting as we speak, gunmen suspected to be some militias have shot dead a young couple in the Agwan Ishaku community of Adekunle local government area on Wednesday evening in the same Plateau State. And according to witnesses, the victim is 30-year-old Iliya Gyang and his 25-year-old pregnant wife, Grace Iliya.
Let's put the governor's statement in context from my little point of view. He said he's not going to say that anything's been swept under the carpet. You know the reasons the media exists as the watchdog of the society. The society here being the key players, the reactors, the actors, everybody, right? Now, he dove even deeper into talking about persons who share unverified information, persons who generalize on the basis of I was told. You'll agree with me that when use is unknown, abuse is inevitable. Social media has many times in this country played a wonderful role in saving Nigerians from what would have been a sweeping of matters under the carpet. I'll give you an instance. One time we hear that certain persons, in fact, 3 churches were attacked simultaneously, one of the weekends. A commissioner of police in that state, alongside an LGA chairman, came out to deny that that attack occurred. It took the persistence of the press and activities on social media to show pictures, videos, and what have you to prove clearly that this incident occurred. That had nothing to do with hearsay. That had nothing to do with the marketing. It had everything to do with a clear presentation of facts and not to distort the reality. So, Governor Caleb Mutfwang, with all due respect, seems to be somewhere between the dangling ropes of trying to report facts as they are and maybe the sentiments that come with persons who want to thrive on FYP viral.
Exactly.
No, I tell you, because we cannot close our eyes to the two sides or the multiple sides.
Exactly. But we need to also look at the side that's more advantageous to the people, which is making sure that the information is out in the public. For one good thing, if we take a look at the trajectory of the situation in terms of how insecurity and terrorist activities have rocked this country, we've had more of true publications on social media with regards to an area where something has occurred than the lies. So it tells you about the fact that the first thing many people think about these days when they are being faced with a situation is to flip their phone and film the event, post it online. Some are even streaming. We saw how that happened in the whole Lekki incident and all of that. So it's not enough to just come out and say in a lame manner that this is because of the activities of those who are trying to demarcate Plateau State and all of that. So this event now that happened in the Adekunle local government area, would you also term that demarketing? So people have to keep the government on their toes. They have to make them understand that the work that you have is an uphill task, especially in the face where multiple reasons have been adduced to the fact that there seems to be an alleged romance between the government and these terrorists. And again, let's look at the fact. Murik, Macban and all of the rest of that, those associations that have something to do with the religious body as long as the North is concerned. How many of the sermons have you heard that is tilted towards disabusing the mind of the people? Even though you may not say the congregation or the congregants in that particular mosque or whatever place that they are seated are actually the perpetrators, but you need something to conscientize it because recruitment is still going on in its numbers. So, I mean, it's a broad-based situation, even though we want to talk about the fact that people should not, share the unnecessary things and misinform the public. But it's also important to point out to the fact that social media has actually helped a lot in helping us make sense of what is going on in this country.
But I would agree with you to the extent that that's not denied by the governor of Plateau State. Clearly, he knows that the social media plays a role. But this is just like him issuing a warning. But you cannot run away from the sui generis rule In other words, that rule that says to understand a particular thing, look at the context in which it's coming up, right? Has Governor Caleb Mutfwang done excellently in terms of security and handling security situations in the state? Nobody can give him a pass mark. Well, some will, maybe if they are card-carrying members and hoping for some extra after 2027, they want to jump on that. But those persons who are in areas where lives have been lost and the rest, will they give him a pass mark? Now, that is one. Two, the social media thingy. For me, lifting from this, there's a clear warning. Do not abuse same, right? And if you must talk about things, be factual about them. But if the governor goes beyond that to say, do not at all use social media to do what you have to do, then he might just be on the wrong side there.
Okay. So let's go to Akwa Ibom State, where, the Nigerian Medical Association chapter in that state has filed a suit of 1 billion naira against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission over the alleged assault of one of its members during a raid at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital. We also hear that they've declared an indefinite strike,
yes,
and that has not been, called off yet. The association had actually accused the FCC operatives of causing physical, emotional, professional, and institutional damage during Tuesday's operation at the hospital. I'm yet to have a full scale in terms of reading on what that event, what transpired to that event, but on the surface, it looks like some Gestapo or commando measures of taking over a facility.
They tried to use a sledgehammer to kill an ant. You needed information on something, on a matter ongoing, a fraud-related matter, and there were some documents that were tendered, and you had a claim, that's the EFCC now, that one of the documents that were tendered needed further authentication, and so you'd written to this institution to get the authentication. You were not getting the authentication. You are a government legal entity. This institution is a government legal entity. You should have known what to do. You didn't do it, and then you decided to show that you have powers. Masks, they have had to shout in the hospital once. The doctor pulled me aside and said to me, this is why you should not shout in a hospital.
Yeah, you should.
You do not. I shared that with you, right?
Should.
And that kind of put me in check. Like, okay, this is really true. I never knew that before now. How much more coming in with guns?
With raids and flinging canisters.
And you fling tear gas and the rest of them. I don't know. 1 billion might be too small, depending on. I mean, we just borrowed how many billion the other time?
That money has a purpose.
This might be. I don't understand. What is it a part of it?
They
could borrow.
I could understand that you need more of Bola, Jiggy Bola. That money has its purpose. Don't go there.
But now, back to the realities here. What happened with the EFCC was totally and is totally condemnable. Okay.
Absolutely.
The NMA would only want to beg. We can only appeal. But what they need right now is concrete action. Who were the officers that went out on that raid? Who is the supervising officer? Can the same person be called to order? Right? These are things that I think should be put down so that justice should not just be done, but manifestly seems to have been done. That's
right.
it.
Well, let's open the phone lines. We'll squeeze in one or two calls before we go on the first break this morning. You can be a part of the program. Call in and share your thoughts. The number to call is 070-4000-1783. Feel free to also call 090-22917-917. And we have 0908-185-5966. Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has said that residents should reduce how they share situations of attack and criminal activities in his state, because he believes that some individuals are trying to demarcate Plateau State. And elsewhere, the doctors, the Nigerian Medical Association has actually declared an indefinite strike, and as well filed a suit of 1 billion naira against the EFCC as a result of the raid that occurred in the facility, talking about the Uyo Teaching Hospital. Wave FM, good morning.